Planning Commission. So thank you for being here, David. And is Michelle Kickline still here?
I saw her a minute ago.
Hi,
right
Michelle.
How are you? It's good
How's
to see
it feel
you.
being a past commissioner now?
Oh, it feels just fine.
I'm so glad you're here. And
I'm happy to be
50
here.
leadership is the good thing.
Good
afternoon, Michelle.
How are you?
Hello.
You can read that.
And Barbara Cohen, we can now see you. So you're in, you're good.
I figured out where his video button was.
Yeah, you got everything. Good,
Don't
good,
we-
good.
Partly
Hi,
on the
Barbara.
screen. I don't want to press anything because it
No,
says
don't touch anything. You're good. Just stay right there, Barbara. We see you.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
you get
you.
the award for being on the call. Now, I know more folks are coming in, and I wish we could go around and do introductions for everybody, but we're not really able to do that because I have a bunch of folks on the call. It looks like we have 3 or 4 different screens of people. So we will send around the contact information on the call, and please feel free to jump in and talk with us. And what I'd like to do is get started on this because we said it would be a noon to 1 session. And my name is Karen Simmons. I am the CEO of the Chester County Community Foundation, which has also been chosen to help to coordinate and organize Chester County's 250th commemoration and celebration initiatives. And many of you have perhaps heard a little bit about 250. And my job today is to talk with you. And Heather Reifer is going to join in. And anybody who's on the 250 Commission who wants to add in some comments, please do. And anybody else who wants to add in some comments, please do. Today's session is just a basic overview that 250 is coming and what does it mean. And you're welcome to ask questions, raise hands. And Paige, can you help moderate the conversation and anything in the chat room that comes up as a question? And Beth Kralis is going to let people in. And also, if you're making a lot of noise because your dog is barking, Beth will mute you, or if the fire truck goes by. All right. So those are sort of our little house rules. So can everybody see the flyer that says join us to make history? Do I have the right screen up? That's my first question.
Yes.
Okay, well, good, good, good. So today we're going to do an overview about what 250 means for Chester County and what the 250 Commission is hoping for Chester County. And you can see we've got some National Park Service folks. Thank you for zooming in on this. Our rock star Rose Fennell will be joining us in February to talk about what's going on and what's not going on at Valley Forge and how the Glow Up is getting ready. And then we'll have Donna Ann Heritage from Heritage Consulting, who's been loaned to us by Chester County Tourism Plan folks to help with a self-assessment to see, are you visitor ready? And what does that mean? And we'll figure out topics for the last session once we figure out where we are and what we need. And we'll keep these Zoom sessions going up. We could only put so many on a flyer. So 4th Friday of each month, we're doing Zoom sessions to start to get people ready for the fact that 250 is coming. All right. So that's the, and this handout is on the website, and plus we'll email it to everybody who signed up for today's session, and you're more than welcome to share it with the whole world, okay? So for 250, many of you, I hope, are clear that there was a lot going on in Philadelphia in 1776. When you add 250 years to that, you come up with the year 2026. So 2026 is our semiquincentennial, our semi-Q, our semi-quin, and I call it 250. We've been, for over a decade, there's been a national 250 commission. And I would say, what, Michelle, probably for 8 years or so, there's been a PA, Pennsylvania statewide commission. And in Chester County, for the last few years, we've had a Chester County 250 commission. And our job is to figure out what 250 should look like in Chester County. And Heather, you can help me jump in on this too. Really, the fact is, what we put together for Chester County takes the federal information on 250 as well as the statewide Commonwealth information on 250. It merges it with the Heritage Tourism Plan for Chester County, which is on the cusp of being approved by the commissioners. And we put an overlay on it for 250 to make it very specific to Chester County. So we're looking throughout Chester County for everybody to help with a year-long or more commemoration and celebration of the 250th anniversary of the nation's founding. And this is a community-wide, we the people series of commemorations, conversations, events, and all that good stuff throughout Chester County and throughout the country. There's two overarching goals for Chester County 250. One is to really help everyone, tourists, visitors, residents, anybody who's coming into Chester County, to really understand the many, many ways that Chester County helped and influenced our nation's founding, and also to elevate everyone's understanding of this continuing journey we're on to build a more perfect union. And this is important because there are multiple ways to look at how Chester County has been involved past, present, and future. Now, from Chester County's Heritage Tourism Plan, there are 4 key themes that, because of where Chester County is located and who we are as a people with our social, cultural, religious background, there's some things really specific to Chester County. So these are 4 themes from the Heritage Tourism Plan that really coincide beautifully with Chester County 250 as we're looking at the ways we helped influence our history and the way we continue this journey. Now, there are many more studied and erudite historians on this call than I. I am not a historian. I am a community organization, community person. So I'm going to give the layperson's version of this. Please feel free to come in and correct me if I say anything that is really, really off base on history, because you know the history much better than I. But from my layperson's perspective, we know that during 2026, throughout that whole year, there's going to be visitors flocking to Philadelphia to see what's going on, where independence truly was declared throughout the land at Independence Hall and throughout Philadelphia. We also know that Valley Forge up here is going to be an incredible attraction for people, and they're going to come over to Valley Forge too, not only through 2026, but through 27, 28. Got a lot going on in just the heritage side alone. And my goodness, we have this little connector down here called Longwood Gardens, which also attracts a lot of people. And so we know that there's going to be a flock of people coming in from this side, plus, of course, from the south and all over. But the interesting thing is when you look at Chester County, this pinkish thing is a rough outline of the Philadelphia campaign, which, as far as I'm concerned, and the Heritage Tourism Plan concerned, is one of the most undersold parts of Chester County, and an incredibly important story that we have to really beef up so that we are ready for this influx of visitors, tourists, and people who live here who want to know more about their heritage. The Philadelphia campaign was actually Great Britain's campaign to try to take over Philadelphia. And when they couldn't hit us from the north, they came in from the south, marched up right past my house on Route 1 in Kennett Square over to the Brandywine battlefield. And I saw Janine Spears is here, and many of you from the Brandywine battlefield know that that was quite an incredible turning point very early on. And then at the Brandywine battlefield, we had then the Battle of the Clouds, followed by the Paley Massacre, followed by going to Germantown and ending up in Valley Forge for the winter. And now here's the question for the non-historians in the room. What happened at those battles? Did our colonists win, lose, or draw? Does anybody know if you're not a historian? What was our role in Chester County? What happened at those battles? Did we win or did we lose? Hands up.
No idea.
We lost.
Okay. Thank you for saying that, Kathy S. No idea. Guess what? We lost pretty much every single one of them, right? Right. And I think this is why perhaps we've been a bit undersold because, you know, I went to Saratoga Springs. I'm a Saratoga girl. So everybody knows Saratoga because we won, you know, and we know that Washington crossed the Delaware and that was a good thing. But in the Brandywine and Paoli and the Clouds, we lost. And truthfully, my shorthand on this is in Valley Forge. Well, the biggest, strongest army in the world of Great Britain was eating, drinking, and being merry all winter. I believe we may have boiled some shoe leather in Valley Forge, and our soldiers did not all survive. Let's just say that. We had a horrible winter in Valley Forge. So we lost the battles, but we won the war now, didn't we? And so twofold for our 250th celebration. One is that it would be good if people understood how these interconnected things that happened and the people whose blood was shed in Chester County so that we have freedom of speech and freedom of assembly and freedom of religion now. It would be good to know that that happened and that people lost their lives for these freedoms. But the other part that is fascinating to me is that there's a lot of life lessons to be learned that are still important to this day on what happens when you lose a battle, you lose a battle, you lose a battle, you lose a battle, but you are so passionate. How do you win the overall war? What has to happen to a people to be able to do that? Resilience, strength, pride, passion, forging alliances, things like getting France to come over and help. So there's a lot of stories about resilience that need to be let known. Mark, is that you or Tom?
Tom,
Yes,
just as a
sir.
reminder, for Valley Forge, sometimes people think there was a battle there. There is no battle at Valley Forge. It was a winter encampment.
Yeah.
And the winning at Valley Forge comes from our survival.
Yes.
And all the things that you've outlined that happened at Valley Forge.
Right.
We survived. So that's the victory in itself.
Yes.
They did not come out to greet us there, meet us, take us, whatever. We survived. And it is not a battle, and we have to make sure people understand that.
Right.
There were times during the war that there were fights at Valley Forge, but the winter encampment was just
Right.
that,
Their
a
survival.
winter encampment. So just throw a historical perspective in there.
Thank you. Yes. Thanks, Tom. Now, the other things that were happening at this time also is the Brits weren't just after our soldiers, our young men who were fighting the war. They were also after, as Barbara Cohen can say clearly, our iron and steel, which was particular, that's the gray area and underneath here as well, in the northern part of the county and in the western part of the county. And there are a lot of stories and untold stories about the iron and steel and what was happening there. Plus, we have the green is agricultural. We have an abundance of ability to, you know, grow food. And so, you know, feeding an army and feeding a people was important then. And it's also something that we can shine a light on now because there's so much agriculture, especially in this part of the county. The fact was, though, there's also a fourth theme, and it's actually, again, it's in gray and it's underneath here. The second paragraph of the Declaration of Independence, you want to try to go through it with me? Let's do the participation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right? So that's the second paragraph of the Declaration of Independence that was signed and announced on July 4, 1776. And I'm going to be the one to say that very first part of the sentence, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal.
Thank you.
Left some unfinished business on the table now, didn't we? And our founding
That's right.
fathers knew that, but they had a bigger fight with Britain. So they had to leave that unfinished business in the table. And I would posit there's at least a few Quakers on this call who remember so well some of the Underground Railroads and people of color who feel very strongly about our path to freedom. It came up through this, oh my gosh, there's a Mason-Dixon line over here and the Harriet Tubman Byway so that we can have some freedom. So that's unfinished business that happened 100 years after the Revolutionary War, which starts to speak to our continuing journey to build a more perfect union. So these four themes about the path to freedom, iron and steel, the Philadelphia campaign, and the agricultural region are from Chester County's Heritage Tourism Plan, and they also are perfectly positioned for the 250th commemorations and celebrations so that we can inspire and inform so many people about we had a role in our starting of the nation and there's a continuing journey. So I put those forward so that you know that if you're involved with those kinds of issues, causes, that we really want to help to draw them forward and highlight them. Now, the fact is, for the 250th celebration and commemoration, this is another thing that it will be really helpful to get clear. Chester County has how many different events that already go on every single day or week? Hundreds of events a week throughout the region. I don't even know how many throughout the county over the course of the year. There's so many ongoing events, and there are so many incredible heritage sites already. So the 250th Commission doesn't really want to create any more sites or really not too many events. We want to really overlay with what's already there. We want to help strengthen, especially some of the heritage sites that might not be ready for an influx of 21st century visitors and families and kids who are coming in and who are used to some pretty high-tech social media stuff to really interpret our heritage. So we want to be able to say to especially heritage sites, okay, there's got to be a way to be visitor ready, and there's got to be a way that you can help us and we can help you. And for events, we know there's so much going on. We want to get the word out so that pre-existing events put an overlay about any of these themes, whether it's the heritage themes or the unfinished business themes. So we don't want to create a whole bunch of new events. We want you to take what you're already doing and make sure to add an overlay about heritage, patriotism, civic pride, whatever it means to you. Interesting? And Heather, if you want to you worked on the Heritage Tourism Plan, and if anybody else on the call did, do you want to kind of summarize and add to it a bit more?
I think you've captured it fairly well. Over the past year, Heritage Strategies, which is the principal is Peter Benton and Elizabeth Watson, And I was working with them on putting together this plan, and the county actually presented us with the 6 different themes that we expounded on, and then saw how the different heritage sites in Chester County related to that. But the way CC250 melds into it is just as Karen describes. There's all these the commemorating the historic achievements and inspiring the American spirit, all has to do with the heritage sites and the Philadelphia campaign. And then we have so many different aspects of Chester County, the agriculture, the iron and steel, they interrelate. And there's ways we can ways sites can pull on each of those things in their description of, or in their interpretation and what they're doing. But it's also about connections, working together and seeing where those connections are, if that makes sense.
David, do you want to add anything?
It's David. Hello, everyone. I'm the new Heritage Preservation Coordinator here at the Planning Commission. And in terms of the Heritage Tourism Plan, just a couple things. One is that we are going to be having a public event, a public meeting that provides an overview of the program, or excuse me, the plan on 5:30, 5:30 or 6 o'clock on the 22nd of February. It'll be on the Planning Commission's website, and we'll be getting notification out. Also, in the next week or so, we will be posting a draft of the Heritage Tourism Plan on the Planning Commission website.
Thanks,
Just wanted
David.
to let everyone know.
Yeah. And I can also add that the Heritage Tourism Plan had a multi-pronged approach. We looked at the heritage sites that were here and how they fit into the themes, but we also had a marketing group, Consult Econ, that put together a marketing plan for the Heritage Tourism Plan. And there was also another group, oh goodness, I'm sorry. I've worked with them quite a lot, and the name flew out of my head. Swell is their name. Swell, Greg O'Glaughlin and Stacey Anderson of Swell. They put together a graphic identity package that will be able to which will eventually get rolled out here, but we've been able to look at and see how we can market heritage tourism in the county as well. And lastly, and Karen alluded to this, there's a capacity building piece, and that's what's going to happen with Donna Harris's event and next month's Zoom-in session. She's going to be rolling out a visitor readiness survey, which we'll be sending out to everyone who participates here and to a bunch of different organizations. You could do a self-assessment, and then that self-assessment will help fuel our discussion at our next Zoom. And it's all about getting ready for 250 in the ways you might think. Are you visitor ready? Do you have the parking? Do you have the interpretive signage? Do you have a way to welcome people? Do you have bathrooms? It looks at all those different things, which I'm sure at various heritage sites, you already think about that on a regular basis. I know I did when I was a director over at what's now Zach's Place at Historic Sugartown. It's a way to capture all that information and really think about, okay, what do we need to get ready, and offer some solutions.
So I'll keep rolling through unless, hey, Barbara.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I had an important phone call that I had to take and leave for a few minutes, but I wanted to ask, there's Valley Forge, obviously its importance is there. Coming up the road are some buildings that also have a history. And I was wondering if there's any way in which what's now was the Bull Tavern, for example, and it's now a veterinary clinic for animals, but we can't go inside and have people come inside and take a tour there. But the importance of that building is that it was around when Washington was there in the area. What I'm asking is this: there are places where, is there any signage that could be kind of electronic, where people could match their phones to the image on the sign? And
You know, we're working on that, Barbara.
oh, good, because
Yeah.
I feel that
And we're working on apps and electronic sort of signage as well. So as part of just getting more visitor ready for, you know, visitors who are savvy with that. So yeah, that's the short answer.
well, I
And more to
appreciate
come.
that, because I was trying to think that obviously the iron and steel industry is critically important, and
Right.
the historic sites with the parks
Significant.
and gathering places. But Yellow Springs was a hospital. People came out through this area, but
Right.
they're not like the Paoli Battlefield or Valley Forge itself.
Mhm.
But there are links here that could be
Yeah.
understood by the public in a way that, hey, this is where the stagecoach went, okay?
Right.
Coming
No.
from Philadelphia to take the waters at Yellow Springs, for example. So I'm just trying to think of ways. Obviously, if you have the right setting and you're going to have tourists come to what you have in your building is one thing. Our building is more the 19th century, 20th century than the 18th century. At the same time, it's right there where it was settled in 1734, the year Washington was born. So there are ways in which different places, I think, can be linked in literally or electronically.
Right.
to
And
enhance
that's huge. Yeah. We're
May I ask
actually,
a
let me
question?
keep going on the detail and then we'll get more to detail. But Jane, do you have something? And
I have
what
general-
organization or area do you represent? I don't.
I'm with London Grove Township
Oh, yeah.
Historical Commission.
Thanks.
My general question is basically, how are you going to do that? In terms of, you have 4 prongs. Your goal is to attract, maximum tourism, etc. So are you going to send out a database or develop a database that says,
Okay, guess what? You're getting way too detail oriented right now on us. We're still trying to do the overall commemoration and celebration. And we know what you're talking about.
yeah,
Is
I always think to know what the goal is in terms of our deliverable and our support.
Yeah, let me keep
Okay.
going then. I get it.
Okay.
There's so much on people's minds, which is great. And we got a ton of detail. So we're going to start today and then we're going to keep digging in every Friday, once a month and keep coming around. Okay. But we're not going to
Okay.
get to every, but let me keep going big picture. I'm going to bring us back up 40,000 feet. Okay.
Sure.
Thanks, Jane. And I'm in Kennett Square, so I get London Grove a little bit. Good.
Oh, okay.
So this is the first is, truthfully, we're asking you for help. That's the first thing. You are involved in many cases in heritage and history. You are aware that 250 is coming. So many people are not. Truthfully, we've been meeting with our legislators for the last month or so. We're starting at ground zero with a lot of them. They know, no. So first we need to get the word out that 250 is coming. And the commission is working on it with the county and the Convention and Visitors Bureau on some of the more detailed things for the heritage centers that you just started to bring up. But our first one is an awareness campaign, which started a couple months ago and will continue. So we need your help to spread the word that 250 is coming, and everybody needs to be involved. So the aim is to involve people from throughout the community, not just the history and heritage centers. Remember before we talked about there's some unfinished business that will take place not at history and heritage centers, fairly likely. And I'll come back to this in a minute. We have our website, And we're asking individuals, groups, organizations to take the pledge to help us spread the word that 250 is coming. I'll go through this and then I'll come back later and get to the website. The pledge is online. Just click here. This is the pledge that they started in Philadelphia, and we thought, okay, let's make this Chester County version. The pledge is just saying, hey, I know that 250 is coming and I'm going to help get the word out. And as organizations or groups that I'm affiliated with come up with things that we want to do to commemorate, celebrate, and examine things that foster things like, liberty, justice for all, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, heritage, history, civics. As we come up with those things, we're going to tell you about it, 250. You're going to actually edit on our website so that we can help co-promote it. The website is with the Convention and Visitors Bureau. It's an extranet from the CVB. So it'll be a history and heritage it'll be an overlay, not a separate one. And as soon as you let us know about things you're doing, or if you help planning some things, Beth K, Ed Riegel's talking on the other line and I can't quite hear. Can you do that? Thanks, Ed. So as soon as you
250?
yeah, you're on 250, Ed, and you had another conversation rolling. Beth K is going to mute you. Thanks. So as soon as you know about programs you're going to offer, make sure it's on the CVB website link that we're going to send you for 250 that's on our website, and we'll help to co-promote it. We'll co-promote it on all our social media channels. We'll co-promote it on the website to try to help you get more visitors and tourists involved. We want to have these meetings on a regular basis, at least the fourth Friday of each month, if not more. And we'll also have in-person gatherings to which all can come, so that our community partner organizations, community partners can keep hearing about 250, helping us figure out what groups need. And then we can figure out, are there ways to really come up with some joint solutions? These are just a sampling of the 30 or so constituent groups that we're trying to reach out to. And this is just a broad internal worksheet, but a lot of you represent the heritage groups. There's also Main Street programs, elected officials. We're working with each Chamber of Commerce and the Chamber of Business and Industry and the Economic Development Council. Social justice groups and women in justice, of course, Lenape, Native Americans. The legal profession has a lot to say about justice, and library systems, service clubs, scouting groups, vets, health and meds, pretty important when it comes to health and war. And then educational institutions.
This is really annoying.
Beth K, can you take care of that? Thank you.
Can
All
I
right.
add an adjunctive phrase to what you were saying, Karen, is that we have had tours in Phoenixville, and I've written the history. It was a PowerPoint presentation about the churches of Chester County.
Mm-hmm.
An active thing later on, of course, was the Underground Railroad, but and if you want any images or a copy of what I
Barbara, we want it all because we want to help spread the word. And
well,
I know you sent us a bit, but we'll take more.
We have an interactive exhibit at the Heritage Center, and on there is the Chester County one.
Yeah.
One for the Schuylkill River Trail, another one is the history of the Schuylkill River. On the Chester County one, if we could have something from the 250 Commission to add to what we have on our interactive exhibit already, that would be awesome. You just, have
we'll do that, Barbara. Yep.
Something to do, because basically the fact where we are located is say the northern part of Chester County.
Mm-hmm.
The Chester County Tourist Bureau down near Longwood Gardens, the southern part. So we could link different geographic areas in the county by virtue of all of the different churches and people came there because they were allowed to do, they could do so.
Yep. No,
I
we're
wanted-
working, we've got it, Barbara. You have the vision of what really the Heritage Tourism Plan wants to have happen throughout the region.
I'm
that we can
sorry, I
do the
need to
250
take this
overlay.
call.
Okay. So target market groups, and this other one also points out the fact that this is not just something that happens on July 4th, 2026. As you know, it's throughout the year of 2026, we'll be celebrating and commemorating our 250th, but the Battle of the Brandywine was 9/11/77. So for Chester County, it continues, and then we made it over to Valley Forge by here and by the winter. So for Chester Countyans, it's not just 4th of July by any means, it's the whole several years. So the infrastructure we're trying to help strengthen throughout the heritage areas and throughout the apps and all that lasts forever. It's long-term legacy stuff. We also know that we have this small little national presidential election happening just as we're gearing out to get the word up about 250. No matter what happens at the election, it's going to be difficult for the country. And so it'll be important to come together to figure out how to bring together this democracy in a way that's productive, especially as we're getting nearer to 2026 when we need to celebrate and commemorate 250 years. So we've tried to get some messaging out and awareness now. And the issue with civic engagement is huge, especially for younger generations who are concerned about what's going on in the United States and what's happening with the country and unfinished business and heritage and knowing your history and lessons learned are all part of that. So as we look at the 250th Commission, these are things that are on our website. What we'd love to have everyone throughout Chester County be a part of commemorating and celebrating 250. 250 Commission is 30 ambassadors who can come out to things that you're doing to talk to your volunteers, staff, boards, constituents about 250's coming, 250's coming. Let's get the word out. Let's start to gear up. We've got some social media platforms, all the typical ones. We're trying to like and follow everyone in Chester County who has something to do with heritage and civic engagement and do the same. On our website, there's a share your story part, which we're going to have to really sharing your story of heritage, freedom, liberty. And then we'll be able to run those stories out on social media and on the website. As Barbara said, other partners have events. Those are listed on the website now, and there'll be more to come because they're already happening. These forums will be the fourth Friday monthly at noon. We'll add more, shall we need them. And also, we're starting to schedule a live in-person summit. The first one will be the first Friday in June in the morning in the Brandywine part of the county, Brandywine battlefield around there. We'll probably have to do a separate one up in Phoenixville, Barbara. So, we figure we'll get it started. And the 250 Commission is trying to raise modest amounts of money for operating, but we're really trying to raise government money for the infrastructure parts. So those things are on the website as well. We will send this to everybody so that they can include it. Just the message that 250 is coming in maybe electronic or paper newsletters. Again, all the social media. And then these monthly forums, and then we'll come up with a, save the date for the summit, which we just are picking the date the other day. So that information will continue to go out. But at this point, I thought I would actually, entertain questions and also take a look at the website with you. So what do you have, Barbara?
I just had a thought.
Yeah.
I don't know who, I know Karen Marshall always organized the town tours.
Ah, David Blackburn. It's on this call. And you're our town tour and village walk man, aren't you, David?
So as our town tours are organized, they could be a prelude to the 250th anniversary. So you
There's
could
also
could
been
have a town
talk that maybe
tour
we
of
do them every month
places.
throughout there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Barbara, in a word, right now we're focused on 24 or 20 this summer, but obviously, yes, for 26 and 27, we have significant opportunity with the summer program to focus directly on these themes related to the events, activities, sites, people, etc. Around those 2 years. So yeah, the plan is for town tours in 26 and 27 to really play a role in helping to connect people to places and stories throughout the county.
right.
and Barbara, you've hit on it. What we want to do is take any event that's already going on and make sure there's an overlay for
Exactly.
2026. We don't want to invent a separate series of anythings, really. We want to say, wait a second, this is already going on. Make sure you know 250 is coming. Like at Longwood Gardens, to say, wait a second, make sure that the fireworks has some red, white, and blue in them and you're playing some patriotic music.
Karen.
Not
Yeah.
a separate one. Yeah, Heather.
Yes, so in the Q&A, Leslie Bernick commented that Chester County Concert Band would very much like to participate as much as possible with their community band and lots of patriotic music. And I think this is another example of if they have a program for or they can start thinking about for 2026, 2027, that, have that overlay,
Yeah.
Go Patriot music. All
We want concert bands. Yeah.
And there's probably other places to plug their talents in other parts, other people's initiatives too. So
it's really about you all doing program planning, knowing that 2026 is coming. So during that year, what kinds of patriotic pride and civic engagement can you overlay onto what you're already doing? Now, do you all see the website on your screen? Did I get the right screen share up so that you can see?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yep, it's there.
Let me do a quick run through and then encourage you all to go to the website and mark that one. But you can see what we have on the Chester County 250 website. And under the programs and events side, just because I just heard that loud and clear, well, obviously we're always looking for your good photos to put here. So if you think you have photos that we should be featuring and they're good enough resolution, please send them our way. Plus our staff will be reaching out and doing calls for photos. So we have right now this line, and the share your story line is you just click on it and download, and there's a little form and you can actually upload on your video phone or pictures of your story that has to do with independence and justice. We're saving the place right center to highlight various partner programs that have to do with heritage and peace and justice overall. And so these will change every week or every month based on what we're finding. In a second, I'll go back and show you the whole website. And then we're featuring the themes of Philly Campaign, Iron and Steel, and Pathway to Freedom, with links to those for people who come here as well. On the programs, which you can get to either here or the public will really be more on this one, there's two sides. One are the community conversations and one are programs and events. And so it's powered by the CVB, and it's a 250 overlay extranet that's on this site. We're urging you to list your programs here. And if you don't have a CVB partner status and they won't give it to you, 250 will let you have our partner status so that you can put your programs on here. And that way we can then pick them off, highlight them, and do social media on it, which it seems like our lovely marketing staff and interns are doing social media stuff every single day now on these various platforms that you see up at the top. So we can help co-promote if you let us know it's happening. And if you have resources, but you don't have programming places, there's probably an exchange or a thing that we can set up so that we can connect folks as you do program planning. So the programs will get co-promoted if you let us know about them. And we really are depending on we, the people, to come up with programs about our heritage and our legacies and our continuing journey for freedom. Community conversations usually get, we separated that category because they tend to be either Zoom sessions or some in person, and they tend to deal more so with some of the unfinished business part. So one of them is just the fact that we're doing these, but there's also at our community foundation, every Tuesday, second Tuesday at noon, there's community conversations on unfinished business, health, equity, liberty and justice, immigrants, all kinds of conversations, not just on what has been, but what we can do to build a more just community here in Chester County. And then Honorable Andy Dinneman and Dr. Charles Hardy and Deb Siamaka are working on a Together Now series of community conversations and forums. So there's more information there. We just heard last week that Delaware County Community College is a diversity series. And so there's links to that. And then StoryCorps is sort of the ongoing organization nationally that has community stories, which can be conversations. So there's links, and again, as you develop these things, we will put them on the website and we'll push it out on social media as well. So there's events and there's community conversations that have to do with liberty and justice for all and heritage that we really need to know about and help co-promote.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I
Like
have
that, Barb?
meeting, but it's been very informative, and we will definitely move forward in terms of things to
Yeah.
any way we can link in.
Resources, Barbara, any resources you can send us that you want us to post. We're just developing all kinds of resources on our resource page. We'll divvy it out. We'll send it out to people. We just want to make it more and more robust.
Right.
So you've got some incredible resources, and many of you on the call, some have already been included, but there's so much. This is just a very beginning. So the more we can get resources together, we can then help people share that it's there and they're free for the downloading.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm glad this approach is so broad-based. It's really, really helpful.
It is a We the People commemoration and celebration, and
Okay.
everybody can do their part to be a part of it.
Thank you.
Restaurants can charge $17.76 for lunch or dinner, or flags and buntings can be put out all throughout the
Absolutely.
land. People can go out and read the Declaration of Independence on their front porch or at their picnics on the 4th of July. You can do whatever you want. We just want to be able to help get the word out and promote it.
Okay, will do. Thank you. Everybody stay safe and healthy. I'm
You
glad
too,
to be part
Barbara.
of this. Thank
Be
you.
well. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Karen,
Yes,
Tom
sir,
Walsh.
Tom. What you got?
I'd just like to reemphasize some of the important comments that you made during your presentation today.
Thank you.
First of all, you stated all the events that we are continually doing in Chester County. And I'll just throw out a couple of things. Westchester this year, it's our 225th anniversary.
April.
Mayor DeBaptiste, Lillian DeBaptiste, and Sandy Riper are coordinators. We're hoping to use some of the events and people and make sure that's a base for moving forward into the 250 program. And we encourage other communities when they do their things this year and next year to operate on the same way. And then I want to remind people that next year is another big event on the countywide basis. Lafayette's returning to Chester.
Yep.
And Bruce Mauday is coordinating
Bruce
for
on the call?
Chester
Yep.
and Delaware County.
Mhm.
And so again, that's a basis, and it helps us lead to 250. And then you also mentioned after 2026, the things that are happening in Chester County, the Battle of Brandywine and the other follow-up activities.
Valley Forge.
So this is a long haul. This is a big thing. This is a
It
4,
is.
5, 6 year program, culminating in 26. And I just want to remind people of that. So consider that when you're building things in your community, consider the before and consider the after. Thank you.
Long-term legacy. This stuff doesn't go away after 2026. We're trying to upgrade and really be much more visitor friendly and ready for the younger visitors so that they get more inspired and engaged by their history and their civics.
Karen, we've had a couple more comments come in. One is from Stephen suggesting that we add the Chester County flag to the website.
Oh,
Just wanted to make sure that was recorded. Also, there's a comment. Is it Janet? I think this is. It's not clear from the comment, but it says of the two prongs of agriculture and iron and steel. Have you been brainstorming how we attract those stories in groups? This is a placeholder for a later discussion. Thank you. And I wanted to comment that one of the committees on the 250 Commission is our Heritage Sites Legacies Committee. And we have ambassadors on that committee that are focused on iron and steel and agriculture. And that is currently in infant development, but it's underway. I don't know if you want to add anything more to that, Karen, but that comment came in. And there was also a comment about land acknowledgement for Chester County Indigenous people.
all incredible things, and we all have to make them happen. Yeah. This is not a top down, the county's going to do this, the commission is going to do this. It really is we the people. So wherever things can be raised up, that's wonderful. And that's what we're trying to do, is get the word out so that we can raise it up. Other questions or comments at this point?
I just want to, Karen, could I say one thing? It's Deb Siamaka.
Yeah, hi Deb, there you are.
Hi, yeah, so first of all, thank you so much for doing this, and I was so interested in what you had to say today, and thank you for lifting up the idea that this is not just about history, even though I was a former history teacher. I think one of the things we really need to do is to lift up the conversation to get everyone involved in this conversation. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that we're doing with the Together Endowment is we've already started filming individuals across Chester County talking about what the Declaration of Independence means to them and talking about their individual stories. So I have a number of groups that we're working with, but if any groups here are interested in being filmed as part of this documentary that we're doing, please reach out to me, and I can give you more information on that. But I think the stories of Chester County are just, the current stories are just as important as the historical stories.
And Deb, I'm so glad you're involved in this because you're bringing such incredible stuff to the table. So thank you.
Thank you.
And no, I can't meet on the date we chose. I have to get back to you with another one, by the way. Anybody else have comments, questions, ideas? I mean, was this what you thought, or did you have preconceived notions and this is not what you thought at all?
That was good. I have a quick question. You said this was being recorded.
Yeah.
So it will be loaded onto this as historical information for those that didn't get to attend. Is that correct?
Yeah. Are you able to see the website behind me?
Yes.
Yeah. So on the page that I think says Community Conversations, we'll have this handout and we'll have the recording. So I think there's a placeholder for it, maybe even right now.
Thank you.
And Beth Kay, I think we can send it out to everybody who registered for the call. So there's the Zoom handout and we'll have the recording coming soon. See that? There you go.
Yeah, so you can expect to get a follow-up email. If not today, then definitely early next week. So it'll have a link for the recording. And as Karen said, a link to access the slides.
Thank you.
And if you would like anyone from the 250 Commission to come out and talk to your group, your board, your commission, your municipality, your family, whatever, if you want us to come out and talk to a group that 250 is coming, that is what we want to do. So we have 30 ambassadors on the commission. Just send us an email or make a phone call and let us know, and we'll get that scheduled.
So if you're trying to convince your board or staff or whoever you
just-
need to convince that
just want
gotta
another-
get going.
You know, it's really what I found, Heather. It's not convincing. It's just informative. I
Inform,
found no one who says, oh, this is a horrible thing. It's fascinating. Once people go, oh my gosh, it starts to open up all kinds of ideas. But sometimes it helps to spread the word live and to have some conversation. And in our future sessions, we'll start to get to more of the next step, because the first is awareness that 250 is coming. And then the next is sharing some ideas about what different people and groups are doing throughout the region to celebrate and commemorate it. So that is where we're going to start on the follow-up sessions. This basic session we can keep doing, but you don't need to keep coming to this one. So it really will be much more of who's doing, are we ready to do what can we do, and some ideas. And at the summit we'll have in June, it really will be some overarching ideas and then some smaller groups to compare notes for people from maybe similar fields about what your organizations and groups are thinking of doing, and just to try to get the word out more and get some ideas going. So that's, as we look ahead, what we're looking to do.
And also to follow up on that, Karen, the fact, making those connections in between, discovering that your group is doing something very similar to another, and there might be some places you can cross promote there as well.
Yep. Or synergy
quick-
sharing.
Quick question.
Yes.
Hi, this is Bertha Jackman. I have a quick question.
Hey, Bertha, how are you doing?
I guess I'm all right. And I put it in the chat, but I didn't hear my question being.
Oh, I'm not monitoring the chat. So what do you got?
No,
Would
I
you mind
understand.
restating?
My question is, will the chat information, everything that's in chat be in, will we have access to that information?
Oh, look at that. Beth
Along
K,
with
can
the-
you cut and paste the chat so that we can put that up too? I think we'll just hold on until after, we won't close out the call until we get the chat copied. Okay, Bertha?
I'll get a transcript of the chat, so I can share it.
Thank
Okay.
you.
And then contact information of folks who signed up. If you don't want your contact information, that would be something for you to tell us. Otherwise, we can do a list so that people know who participated. Is that okay? To help connect a little bit more? Okay. And if it's up there and you don't want it up there, just tell us. We can take it down. But it really is about networking and connections, okay? Bertha, is there anything else you wanted to say, or was that it?
I basically thank you very much for this information. And, it's good to see it one more time, all in one spot, because we're getting little bits and pieces, different places, and it does get a little confusing, a little overwhelming. But I think this was helpful.
Yeah, there's a lot to it, but as you start to kind of keep going through it, it starts to kind of settle in and make sense. So yeah. And there is an awful lot, and that's the beauty of it. Everybody gets to celebrate and commemorate their own way. The 250 Commission wants to lift it up and to help co-promote it so that more people can be aware of it and we can get the word out. All right.
Thank you. Yeah.
I thank everybody for your time this afternoon. And thank you for everything you're doing through every day throughout the community to help Chester County. I mean, we're so privileged to be in such an amazing place, but you're making us even better each and every day. So thanks what you're doing to help people remember their history and their heritage and their civic engagement and unfinished business and pride about being here and helping others. So thanks for everything you're doing so much all the time. I hope to see you all next month. Bring a friend and Zoom in some more so that we can keep rolling on the road to 250. Thank you so much. Have a good afternoon. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks again, Karen. For all
Thanks,
the-
Deb.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bertha, I'm glad you came back. We got more to do.
Yeah, I've been here all the time and just excited. And yes, and I do try to spread the word everywhere I go, that this thing is coming.
Yep.
That's great.
Yeah, yep. All right, we'll keep in touch. Thanks, Bertha.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And Rob, thank you for introducing us. Yeah.
Yes, just to say Rob Williams. I got on to him the other day and I said, do you know what you've done? I said, I'm involved in all these different little committees. I lost count.
And Rob said, that's okay, Bertha. Gotta
Yes,
keep
he-
busy.
Yep, and he'll come up with a few more.
Exactly.
Nice.
Rob is a gem, absolutely.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Stop the recording. I don't know who started the recording, but it could be stopped now.
Yeah, Paige can stop it.